Hey everybody, Tiffany here. Today I thought I would show you guys a little video about a faux dory that I made recently. If you remember from the podcast that we had a few weeks ago, I'm kind of obsessed with traveler's notebooks right now. And I love the whole idea of making different kinds of faux dories or planners. You can have planners if you prefer to call them that. But I'm not so keen on paying 30 to 60 bucks for the actual brand name Midori online and paying like $10 per notebook and all of that kind of thing. So I've been looking for a less expensive option and one that allows me to be a little more creative. A few weeks ago, I actually shared one with you that I made on my blog. I shared one with you that I made out of pleather, and that was kind of fun, but it was a learning experience for me. This one is one that I was pretty excited about doing because I've been wanting to sew my own Fauxdori, but I'm kind of intimidated by my sewing machine. So what I did here is I actually used a fabric in order to make it, but I let somebody else do the sewing. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to take the outer binding off. I'm going to go ahead and slip my notebooks out. I don't have them actually attached right now, but I wanted you to be able to see what this started life out as. This is actually a pencil pouch that I bought at Target last week for $6.99. Thought that was a pretty great deal. It is made out of a kind of a canvas product, and I loved that it had this zipper. I thought, you know what, that would be perfect because I could put like decorative items or pins or whatever if I could maintain the integrity of that zipper section. Here you can see I have some ancient flags from a Smashbook line. So anyway, in making this, I lost the pouch part over here. Now I do have this section like between the binding that's open, so I could put something that's pretty narrow there, like some pins or whatever, but it's probably not going to be used much for actual storage. The only part that I'll use for storage is this part. What I love about this Midori is that it only took me, I don't know, 15 minutes to make at the most, and it seems really sturdy. I really like it. So let's flip it over. I want to kind of talk you through my process. I had these 3 notebooks that I knew that I wanted to use. This one came from the dollar spot at Target. It has blank paper inside, and it's about 40 pages long. I had this notebook from Walmart that I picked up for $1.97, and it's lined pages. It's probably 60 pages, so it's pretty thick, as you can see. And then I had this little Heidi Swapp booklet that is much thinner, has wider lines. It's probably, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 pages. And I realized that these were all roughly the same size. They're all roughly 5 by 7. Now, they're not perfectly the same, but that's okay. They don't have to be. I took my block of books and I laid them on the Midori so that there was a little bit of a lip here. Do you see that? There's a little bit of a lip. Now, ideally, you know, you would put it closer to the middle and you'd have more room because you really want this lip to be the same height as whatever notebooks you're putting in it. But remember, I wanted to maintain the integrity of that zippered part, so I couldn't do that. I had to move them over. Excuse me. Now I could only include 1 or 2 notebooks and that would still work. It would still be the right height for that lip, but it's not going to worry me too much if I have an edge of a notebook peek out. I mean, that is a small thing to worry about, at least in my opinion. So once I had laid those down as a block and taken a look at the edge, I took my pen and I put a dot at each edge. Notice that I put that dot kind of at the corner of where the booklets were. Then I took a ruler and I measured out from the edge 1.5 inches, and I made a dot so that I could make a hole there. And then I measured from the edge and 3/4 of an inch, and I made a dot and a hole there. And I actually used my Crocodile Big Bite to make those holes because that made it so easy. If you tried to punch those with a hole punch, I think that would have been pretty difficult. I repeated the process here at the top, 1.5 inches in, 3/4 of an inch in. Then I took my ruler and I measured the entire width and I put a hole in the middle. Then I had been watching tons and tons of these tutorials on YouTube about how to create the binding for the Fauxdori Traveler's Notebook style. And so I made mine work with 3 notebooks. You can make yours different. I can't point you to a specific tutorial that I followed because they've all started to run together at this point, but there are lots and lots of them out there. Some people are disturbed by the knotting and the tail in the middle and at the top, but it didn't bother me at all. You know, that just sort of depends on your particular style. If you'll look at the outside of it, you'll notice that there is a little bit of fraying where I punched the holes, and sometimes I have made faux dories where I actually put grommets or even just large eyelets there to stabilize it. But this particular fabric is so sturdy that I didn't really think that I needed it. All right, let me put my notebooks in here so that you can see what they look like. And you do have to work them in there a little bit. You know, they're not gonna go in super easy that first time maybe. And you can do them a couple of different ways. You can put them sort of inside each other. You can put them in different configurations to see which notebook maybe you want on top and which one you want at the back. What have I done there? I've gotten caught on my little clip. Yeah, it's probably not a good idea to put these together while you still have actual clips in there, but you know, I'm a renegade, so I'm gonna do it my way. And I use, just for point of reference, there are all kinds of different suggestions about what to use for the binding. I actually went into the sewing section of, I guess, Hobby Lobby, and I bought some elastic, some braided elastic that you would sew clothing with, because I thought that I liked the look of that the best. Now you can see they're not as tall as they could be. I could have made them taller, but that's all right with me. Let me go ahead and shut it. I have a little charm from my Cocoa Daisy planner subscription. I thought that was pretty cute. Now, if you look at the side, you can see that the top lip comes over a little bit while the bottom lip is a little bit underneath it. And you can sort of play with that some and make that a little more even. But honestly, all that matters to me is that it closes and the books aren't totally hanging out, because then the edges might get raggedy and not look so nice. Well, there you have it. There's my 15-minute, less than $10 Fauxdori, including all of the materials and the booklets. I hope you guys will think about making one of your own and maybe share it with me. I'd love to see what you make. See you later.